What is up, my fellow andronauts? In this video, I want to show you a dietary fiber that is very good for increasing testosterone. Now, you might think about dietary fiber as beans or lentils, but it's also prebiotics like Lactobacilli that you can buy from the shop, primarily meant to improve your gut health, to enhance the growth of specific bacteria, because bacteria feed on this fiber as food, and this increases the amount of these specific bacteria. I want to show you this prebiotic that can then increase your testosterone. Let's dive in. So the prebiotic is called Mannan Oligosaccharide, or MOS, are mostly complex molecules that are linked to portions of protein derived from the cell wall of the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae. No idea how to pronounce this. And their production originates mainly from sugar and alcohol, beer and bakery sections. So because they use the Saccharomyces yeast in baked goodies, making alcohol, beer specifically. So this could actually be that beer is androgenic because it contains this compound that can modulate the microbiome in a beneficial way to increase your testosterone. So technically, if you want to supplement, this is not really from plant origin, but you have to get a yeast. It's like the outer cell wall of this yeast that contains this fiber. So what it does, it increases the sessile population of beneficial bacteria such as Lactobacilli and Bifidobacterium. These bacteria then provide competitive binding sites for pathogens such as Salmonella or E. coli, with manner-specific type 1 fimbriae, decrease their attachment to the intestinal wall and are ultimately excreted from the gut. So these harmful bacteria, they attach to the gut. And then the Lactobacilli and Bifido compete for binding to the intestinal wall, and so they displace the pathogens so your body can just poop it out. You don't have to kill it, you just freaking poop it out. It has also been shown to increase actinobacterium, lactococcus, and Verocomicrobiaceae like bacteria, all of which are deemed to be beneficial bacteria in the gut. And then also Mannan Oligosaccharide can better promote the diversity and intestinal microbial growth, enhance the recovery of most genres, including the Akkermansia and Bacteroides, and inhibit certain pathogenic bacteria such as Proteus compared to other fiber types. And this is specifically in the context of recovering from antibiotics. So when you use antibiotics, it wipes out a lot of the beneficial bacteria as well. And this Mannan oligosaccharide seems to be uniquely beneficial at recovering the growth of most of those beneficial strains that was wiped out by antibiotics. So here are a quick of MOS benefits. When supplemented in the appropriate dose and frequency, prebiotics confer immediate beneficial effects associated with the fixation and removal of possible pathogens in the digestive system. These pathogenic agents containing endotoxin are found in very high levels in the mammalian intestine, including colonic systemic inflammation. So I've made videos about this before. There's a strong gut testosterone axis, and if your gut is unhealthy, primarily by the overgrowth of these gram-negative bacteria that create and then also release this endotoxin. Endotoxin produces a lot of inflammation, especially when it's absorbed through leaky gut. Damages this, lowers your testosterone. This is actually becoming more and more of an issue because people are becoming more and more unhealthy, more overweight, more gut issues, more leaky gut, and this endotoxin causes low testosterone. So this MOS reduces the bacteria that create endotoxins, so basically reduces inflammation. Then also the inflammatory processes play an important role in the etiology of various diseases and involve multiple pathological systems in the modulation of the brain-intestinal axis, among which is the endocrine system, notably the gonadal axis. So I just quoted that from the study. Obviously they use more complicated English, but the point is that the inflammation caused by the harmful gut bacteria and the endotoxin then lowers your testosterone. It can lower your LH, but it's more likely to lower your testosterone first. You might end up with normal levels of LH, but low levels of testosterone, which indicates testicular insensitivity to the LH. All right, so this is the study I want to talk to you about, because there's one study where they use this fiber MOS to see if it increased testosterone, fertility, and so on. So they had MOS 1, which is the first diet, MOS 2, which is the second diet, and MOS 3, which is the third diet. And so the first diet was standard diet plus 1% MOS. And this MOS was derived from the cell wall of the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae, strain 1026, composed of 17% alpha mannan. This was obtained from a place in Brazil, right? So the emphasis here is they used a specific strain of Saccharomyces, and it contains 7% alpha mannan, which is a fiber, a piece of the, it's a component of Mannan Oligosaccharide. Oh, so this was the first diet. The second diet was again standard diet plus 1.4% of this kind of MOS. And this kind of MOS contained alpha-1, 3, and alpha-1, 6 Mannan O protein derived from Mannan oligosaccharide presenting 30% alpha-mannan. So this was a slightly different strain or a different composition of fibers, even though it was MOS. And the third diet was standard diet with 1% of MOS, which contains beta-glucans, mannans, mannose, polymers, chitins, which is glycosamine polymers, and galactans, galactose polymers derived from yeast strain Saccharomyces boulardii. So this again was like a different strain. So the point is they didn't just use different concentrations of MOS, they used different concentrations of different kinds of MOS every single time. And I will show you the results in just a moment, but you can see this one was 17% alpha-mannan, this one was 30% alpha-mannan. And then this one contains a bunch of other stuff that didn't even specify how much alpha-mannan there was in it. So when you look at the increase in testosterone, the black column is the control group. The second column is the 1% MOS diet of MOS 1. The third column is MOS 2, and the fourth column is MOS 3. Right, so they used every single diet over a period of days. The first moment was 14 days, then it was 28 days, 42 days, and 56 days. This is when they took these measurements. And you can definitely see that the MOS 3 was the most effective in increasing testosterone. But at the end of the day, all of them seem to be relatively good at increasing testosterone. So even if it was a 17% alpha-mannan or a 30% alpha-mannan or like non-specified alpha-mannan, all of them seems to be good at increasing testosterone over a long period of time. So I would say obviously these findings in rats or in animals is much faster usually than in humans. So 56 days for an animal would be a couple of months, maybe 3-4 months for a human. 4 to 6 months for a human. So if you're going to use this fiber, maybe you're going to use 5 grams twice a day, you're going to have to use it like 5-6 months to get the same results. These guys almost had a tripling in their testosterone, and you're probably not going to get a tripling in testosterone, but you can get a really decent boost if you use it long enough, and it induces these beneficial changes, brings down inflammation and whatnot. Also, it seems to lower cortisol. There you can see it's not like massive a decrease in cortisol, but there appears to be a downward trend. So testosterone goes up, cortisol goes down, really improving that ratio. So this prebiotic seems to be very good for increasing testosterone. The only downside is that it seems to be very hard to obtain at the moment. You can buy it from Alibaba, so I will link that below. And I've ordered multiple times from Alibaba before. They are reliable and you do get your stuff. Yeah, it's just a slightly different way of doing it because you have to contact them, and it's not just like a buy now button, but that is an option if you want to try it out. Otherwise, you're going to have to drink a bunch of beer to get the same benefits. No, I'm just kidding, because if you're going to drink a lot of alcohol in probably the amounts necessary to get the right amount of the fiber, that is going to start to lower your testosterone. Now, a small amount of alcohol is actually beneficial to your testosterone. Large amounts is harmful. I have a video on that. Go check out my channel. All right, so guys, so I hope this was interesting. You learned something new, as I mentioned. Link for that product is in the description below. And if you really want to maximize your testosterone the right way with diet, lifestyle, specific supplements, join the TestoTribe. Link is in the description below. This is where we fix your low testosterone and we create a plan of action to make stuff happen. Also, all of my courses are on there. How to maximize your testosterone, DHT, estrogen, prolactin, dopamine, everything you need to optimize your alphaness is in there. All right, guys, thank you for watching, and I will check you in the next one. Cheers, guys.